What's happening, YouTube? Welcome back. This is episode 6 in the Grandmaster to Top 500 series. In this game, I'm playing against two beginners who are orange and green, as well as one intermediate who is blue. So in the beginning of the game, I chose to ally with my opponents, especially since I'm going for Europe, because when you're going for Europe, you have to split your army across 4 different borders, and comparing to someone who has their army in one spot or 2 different spots, like if they're going for Australia or South America, they will always have a bigger army than you because they only have to split across 2 different places or 1 different place, while you have to split across 4 different places. So theoretically, they will always have the ability to invade you. So just to lower the chances that someone decides to invade me, I decided to try to ally myself with my opponents. And it's at this point that green very aggressively and very boldly goes for South America by attacking 9 troops, 4 troops of mine and 5 troops of blue. And that was extremely risky because that could have gone very badly for him, but it worked out for him, so good on him, I guess. But it's at this point that blue invades him straightly into South America. That was a mistake from blue's part because he doesn't have enough troops to compete with green. And green is going to win easily against blue unless blue is able to get a set. But that's actually that's not very likely since he only has like 3 cards. So I was able to capitalize on this scuffle between green and blue by capturing Europe. Like, since they were fighting, I was able to capture it without worrying about them invading me because they're too worried about each other. And also, I noticed that the blue player quit out of the game after realizing that green utterly destroyed him, I guess. But it's at this point when green invades me into Europe after he saw that blue left the game. But fortunately for me, I do have a set of cards, so I will be able to defend my borders better against green. So as you can see now, I have at least 10 troops on the majority of my borders, so it's going to be very difficult for anyone, especially green, to invade me. So looking at from these first few turns, I can tell right away that the orange player is very passive. He only takes 1 territory every single turn, and in contrast, the green player is extremely aggressive. Because as we saw in the beginning, when he was taking over South America and going through 9 troops, which was extremely risky, and then we also saw that he invaded me into Europe. So one thing that I've noticed is that he invades whichever continent he can invade if he has enough troops to invade that continent. So the best way and the only way for me to hold Europe is to actually protect my borders. Because if I tried to use the turtling strategy where I put my army in the center of Europe, that wouldn't work, because then all green would have to do would be to attack one of my ones, because he attacks a continent if he's able to do that. So I have to actually protect my borders against him. That's a necessity, it's a requirement. And even after defending my borders and protecting my borders, green simply turns in his set and then goes for this blitz roll, the 21 on 18. And fortunately for me, it doesn't end up working for green. I sent him that dislike emoji because I'm not too happy that he tried to do that. So I'm just trying to tell him to back off and stop trying to invade me. And if you're looking at that turn especially, the orange player easily could have invaded me Like, he could have teamed up with green and invaded me straightly afterwards. After green blitzed me and made my borders that weak, he could have invaded me, but he chose not to. So this is very telling of these players' different playstyles. The orange player being a passive Australian player, and the green players being an aggressive South American player. So I need to be extremely wary of green, and just to make sure that I have a big enough army to defend my continents with all of my borders. So in this situation, in order to make progress, my best option would be to try to capture Africa, but I need to make sure that I have enough troops to defend Europe properly against green, and before I actually go for Africa. Also, I need to make sure that when I do capture Africa, I have a big enough army on North Africa that I can use to defend against green from Brazil. So currently, I don't have a big enough army to place on North Africa and prevent green of invading me. So it was a no-brainer that for him to invade me. But once I get my set, then I can have a big enough army, like a bigger army than green does, and I will be able to hold Africa from green. Now, orange could invade me because I don't have any troops guarding against orange, but in a couple of turns I can actually put some troops on East Africa as well as Egypt in order to defend against orange. So in one or two more turns, I will be able to properly defend Africa from both green as well as orange. So once I capture Europe and Africa, the green player won't be able to do anything about it because I will have a bigger army than him on North Africa. So it comes down to orange to try to make sure that I don't get too powerful. So he has two different options. Either he can keep invading me, or he can try to expand and capture Asia and then just have Australia and Asia while I have Africa and Europe. And then we will be perfectly balancing each other by getting roughly the same amount of troops each turn. So green realizes that orange is a passive player, and it's not very likely that he would want to start a fight with me by invading me into Africa. So green makes a very smart play by leaving Asia and moving his troops into North America, and this allows orange to capture Asia. So that was a very smart play by green, because now that allows orange to start balancing me out. And now we're going to get the same amount of troops, or roughly the same amount of troops per turn, which means that nobody is going to become too powerful and the balance of the game is going to be sustained. So it's at this point that green decides to try to take out blue, and he's successful in doing that. But that was a mistake because he actually lost 17 troops taking out blue for only 2 cards or 3 cards. That was not a good decision by green. But he could afford to do that because neither me nor orange will want to try to take out green, will be able to try to take out green, because if either of us does that, then the other player, the third player, will end up winning. So green could afford taking out blue even though it wasn't worth it for his cards, because neither of us would be able to take him out right away. So in this situation, the game is pretty stagnated, like it's like a stalemate pretty much, because orange and I are getting the same amount of troops, and green is just there in the background. So either this game goes on for another 2 hours, and we just pass our turns just getting a territory per turn and building up a big army, or one of us, either me or orange, attacks each other. And I realized that I might as well be the attacker because this attack is going to happen. So I should be the attacker because I have the attacking advantage using balanced splits dice rolls. So I only lost 28 to that 35. And then I only lost 11 versus Orange's 20. So basically, I'm trading places with the orange player, and now I'm just going to start camping in Australia. This will be really good because it will essentially force orange and green, hopefully, into a conflict. Not right away because orange is mad that I attacked him, and he ended up invading me into Africa and Europe, which was not unexpected. I was expecting that to happen. So in this situation, I'm just going to move my troops out from Europe and Africa so that Orange can go for Europe. And then I'm going to move my troops out from North America so that Green can go for North America. And then I can have my troops in Australia away from the action. So the chances of anyone attacking me are going to be really small. And I already know that Green is a very aggressive player. So the chances of him attacking Orange are not that low. Like he's really likely to do that. So I send him an attack request to attack Orange. And actually he ends up attacking Orange into Europe. So this is a really good situation because now Orange is going to be really mad with Green instead of being angry with me. I can just sit in Australia and watch these guys fighting. So now Green can take over North America, but the chances of him holding North America while attacking Orange are not going to be that high. And as we can see, Orange actually fortified his army next to Green's border on Greenland. As we can see, there's a 38 troops army next to that 9. And there's really nothing Green can do. He could potentially try fortifying some troops there to guard against Orange, but instead of doing that, he chose to invade Orange into Europe and then move his troops away from Greenland because he knows that Orange is going to invade him. So he moved his troops out of the way just to make sure that he doesn't lose them. So this situation is really good for me because I can stay out of the fighting and I can encourage Green to attack Orange. So that turn I took 2 territories of Orange. So basically I'm singling out Orange territories and just trying to encourage the conflict between Green and Orange for as long as possible. Because the longer this goes on, the longer I can just sit back and build up troops. And the higher the chances are that one of them, either Green or Orange, makes a mistake and ends up attacking each other too much so that I will have the opportunity to take out both of them in a single turn. Because if Green were to actually blitz Orange's army on Greenland, then that would break the balance of the game because I would have more troops than both of them. So Green can't actually do that. That would be a mistake. Now you might be wondering why I didn't capture Asia. And the reason for that is because I don't want Green to change his focus from Orange onto me. Because if I capture Asia, then he will attack me. So that's why I am focusing on Orange, just to encourage the conflict between Green and Orange. So this is the first turn that I have actually invaded Orange into Europe. So now Green doesn't have to do that job. He can actually go for Africa. As we can see, he's fortifying some troops into the Congo, which he can use to capture Africa. Since I invaded Orange that turn, he didn't need to attack Orange. So I see that Green is going for Africa, so that's why I put some troops in Japan, just to show that I want to go for Asia in my next turn. And green does go for Africa, but he doesn't take the last territory because he wants to show to the rest of the players that that's his goal, to go for Africa, but he doesn't want to take it right away. So now I need to start allying myself with orange more and start attacking green more, because I see that green is getting stronger than orange now. Because every single turn, green has been attacking orange, and I've also been attacking orange, and that has made it so that green is stronger than orange now. So that's why I tried to capture Asia, and then I sent the attack request to orange to attack green. So now we can start double teaming green, since green is the stronger player between orange and green right now. But orange actually doesn't do anything this turn. I think he might have went inactive, but I need to make sure that I invade green into Africa. Otherwise, green will become too strong. And then I also sent an attack request to attack green to the orange player. And fortunately, he's back, so he can actually go and invade Africa. And now I can start taking territories in North America and singling out green territories. So previously I was targeting orange territories when the orange player was the strongest player, but now I'm attacking green. And it's at this point where green breaks the balance of the game, because now the balance is that green and orange have 240 troops and I have 233. So even though I have 7 troops less than both of them combined, I will be able to win this, because the attacker has an advantage on the big blitz rolls. So I saw this is my opportunity to win the game. And I chose to take out green first because green was the one to break the balance of the game by attacking orange's army in Greenland. So I just need to make sure that I pull my army out from Australia. And that's what I did. I moved into North Africa so I can use it against both of the players. And it turns out that they both realized that the game is over and they ended up quitting out. So now I'm just against these bots. So the green bot passes its turn, and also the orange bot also passes its turn. So I'm going to take out green first because he was the one to break the balance of the game. And I'm going to fortify and take out orange in the next turn, just to guarantee that I win the blitz roll. So after this victory, I'm at 1394. Let me know in the comments if you like these longer style videos. I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.